Let's go. I can't lie to you, this video is going to look like shit because this thing is too fucking big to practically fit on my desk. On that note, holy fuck, this thing looks amazing. I always had the original when I was younger, so it had the toy colours instead of the actual show colours, so this is slightly new to me. Big booty battleship is not new to me, however. I swear when I was about 8 years old, this is how big the original one actually felt. For scaling, here's a figure that everyone owns, on his merry voyages to join the Navy, apparently. Good for him. Yeah, unfortunately, as I previously have said in other Titan-related videos, and in the video just before this, shooting Titans in this space is an arsehole. So instead you get in some VO while I just get some different close-up shots. Before we get him into his much more palatable Dark Fleet mode. Yes, you can see Tidal Wave's alt mode is also well known for splitting into 3 smaller vessels of varying designs, and they're fun in their own ways. Vibes not included. Taking a look at these one by one, I'm going to start with what is probably my least favourite of the 3. And I'm sure you might be wondering, what's so bad about this particular piece that it's my least favourite of the 3? Well, like that. Exactly like that. These 2 sets of tabs are all it has to securely lock together, unless there's something else hidden around here that I haven't found yet. And it just isn't enough. You can sit there and put these together. You can see I am lining it up. You can hear it click. And without anything... fucking awful. Also, it omits the details of the smaller one from previous years by not having a seated area in here with a runway, which is a shame, because I genuinely think this guy's pack-in partner should have been a deluxe repaint into Ramjet. It looks ridiculous, but ridiculous isn't always bad in this hobby. Also, I do like this sculpted detail around the cockpit in the back area. I just think that looks neat. He looks fine. He just doesn't handle fine. Next up, you've got the aircraft carrier, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's an aircraft carrier where you could put little guys who fly on it, such as a deluxe class repaint of Ramjet. Before I get any actually comments, Ramjet was Tidal Wave's minicon. This is Windsweeper, who we'll be meeting later on in the run, but for now, we have this thing, which is, I don't really know. If there's a name for it, it'll be on screen right now. Anyway, this one's probably the most interactive out of them all, because this one's got all the guns and other accessories. These wonderfully big, goofy cannons, which are blast effect compatible. The only one I happen to have on hand was this one, as well as these little missile pods, which I believe are articulated on 5mm posts, so you can move them for whatever reason if you want to. By far the best bit about this whole new assembly is that it isn't minicon oriented, so you don't need to plunk a little guy, such as a deluxe class repaint of Ramjet, onto his chest and wiggle him about, with this being the former minicon port in order to get these to move. They are free moving to do whatever you like with, such as turn on the audience. And back with us for the first time in a little while, we have a Titan class that has a base mode, because apparently there was no way to do the transformation all in one. So they said, okay, here, have a base mode, which I'll give them benefits for this. Thanks to the various cockpit pieces and windows scattered about the figure, this thing does look like a sprawling city or industrial estate. But on the other hand, when you're missing little guys such as a deluxe repaint of Ramjet to wander around and live in this city base, it's a bit redundant. I don't know, city bases and me, we just don't tend to get along for whatever reason. Maybe I'm just too old for them, maybe they are dumb, I don't know. But while I'm nattering away, here's some cutaway footage of close-ups, because again, this thing is just unwieldy big. And then we'll move on to his transformation. Anyway, while Tidal Wave is being transformed off screen, I want to divert your attention to a really interesting thing that they decided to do with this guy. In a daring move that either partially, completely, or just fucking absolutely notly breaks up his silhouette, the genius minds at Hasbro decided, what if we made a way for him to retain one of his most iconic gimmicks, and decided that we should have a miniature version of the Dark Fleet composed from Tidal Wave himself. Now, unfortunately, due to budget constraints and laws against fun, I guess, this doesn't combine or transform into a mini Tidal Wave, but I tell you what it does do. Using some cheeky time travel tactics to get a hold of a figure that isn't even out yet. Look, just pretend that this isn't a year after the fact, so you can be impressed. You can actually take this miniature Dark Fleet and recreate one of my favourite things in Armada, which was the contender to Super Optimus. Something or other Galvatron. Yeah, I can't really remember the name for this one, and I don't much care to, but it's fun. In direct contrast to the original, they gave him platform heel extenders so that he can be a little bit taller. According to the wife, I need some of them so I can stop lying about being 6 foot. By far the sturdiest connection comes in the back, where these two pieces are attached by 5mm ports on either side, but also got a connector piece in the middle, which is nice. Whereas these other two pieces are just attached via 5mm ports. Here's an unrelated clip from the end of year ranking video where I actually put him against Super Optimus because it's too hot for me to go up to that shelf and get him down, I swear. Honestly, this was just a cool thing they didn't need to do, but I'm glad they did anyway. And it also just gives you a reason to want to buy both Titan Tidal Wave and Leader Megatron, in case you were uncertain, of course. Also with the back assembly, I think it's also worth mentioning, this is why he can't articulate at the treads. It's mainly a stability thing, which, you know what, is fair, I get that. But why the fuck did this issue happen so many other times? Can Tidal Wave combine with Laser Prime? I fucking doubt it. Also, I wanted to see if there was a way to have the back assembly without that main turret in the way, and as you can see, not really. This now just looks like a PSA for when someone has a stroke. On that note, remember fast. Speaking of which, it's fucking boiling in here and I just want to get this over with. So let's move on to the robot mode. What's up, shaggers? This is a quick editor's note from me. So this guy was an absolute dick and the files basically got corrupted in editing. I tried twice to fix it, it didn't work. So the second half of the video is going to be a little bit different to the first half. Let's just hope it works out right. And now, on with the show. Zooey mama, look at the fucking size of this. I must admit, I haven't quite sussed out the lighting situation, but fuck me, that is a impressively nice head sculpt. Hang on, let's see if I can shed some light on the situation. Look at that with his big masculine Chad chin, the Spartan silhouette, and the forehead full of anal beads. What a handsome lad. In case this otherwise caught you unaware, this Tidal Wave is the last traditional sized Titan, and realistically, he's the smallest one outside of the combiners. Yeah, maybe 220 was a bit of a steep ask. In this mode, he retains a reasonable degree of articulation, though some things tend to get in the way, such as a hip skirt that theoretically is bigger than Heathrow Airport, although it's probably cleaner despite being a hip skirt. Now, there is one major talking point to consider with Tidal Wave, which is apparently the knees have some sort of assembly issue. I don't know if you can even hear it. Where the spring is too big and it's going to rip the knee joint apart. Woohoo! Yet another Decepticon Titan that turns into a spaceship that has purple and grey highlights across it with legs that will eventually break. Joe Hasbro out here making me feel like the luckiest girl at the ball. Although if I gag when I get there, it's because of the smell. Perhaps even more impressively, once you move all this shit out of the way, he actually has a functioning waist joint. So that's pretty neat. Now, as I said, he's one of the smaller traditional class Titans, so for a size comparison, here he is with his cousin from year one of Legacy, Cybertron Metroplex, who honestly, as a robot, both fucking dwarfs and emasculates him. Scotland forever, I'm not sorry. But that's not really fair on old Tidal Wave, so instead let's get a better comparison in, shall we? Here he is stood next to what could have been a deluxe class repaint of Armada Ramjet. Oh, if only Joe Hasbro would have blessed us. What can I say? I have a thing about Minicon scaling. Like when Armada Dead End appeared in the game and he was actually the size of a moon. In a beloved departure of spring-loaded bullshit from the original, these guns can now just move freely, so you can have him firing on all cylinders at all times, and that's nice. We like aggressive titties in this house, alright? What can I say? And ultimately, I think that's all I can say about Armada Tidal Wave. Partially because I've covered everything else, and partially because I'm absolutely fucking drenched in sweat because this office is a fucking boiler room. Ultimately, Armada Tidal Wave is a pipe dream come true. Thanks to this size and build, I think he's long overdue for a Titan slot, and I'm glad they decided to tackle it before reducing what the Titan slot was. Admittedly, the sheer fucking size of this man kind of gives me nostalgia of the Iron Giant if he landed in Imperial Britain as opposed to, you know, America in the 50s. That's a new Hearts of Steel idea. But ultimately, cryptid nature and trying to fucking make a video about him and potential build flaws aside, I'm happy to have him. I will admit he probably wasn't worth the asking price of $220, but if he dropped at like $170, $180, absolutely. But the only questions that remain are, what do you guys think of him? Did you go in on him? Were you interested? Did it not tickle your fancy? Or are you a staunch Armada hater? In which case, get out of my comment. And the other question being, I'm done now because I'm sweating my twat off. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.